In the quiet heart of the Romanian mountains, where old forests hug the sides of ancient peaks, lives a woman named Alina. Her face shows the marks of many years, with lines from countless winters and summers. She lives in a small, simple house, surrounded by the smell of pine trees and wild plants. But Alina is not just any woman, she is a protector. She keeps the secrets of the mountains, stories passed down not in books, but in whispers carried by the wind. These are tales of a hidden place, a kingdom of deep peace and wisdom known as Shambala. The people in the nearby villages talk about her with great respect and wonder, knowing she understands the land in a way most people have long forgotten. Alina knows that the way to Shambala is not a road you can just walk on. It's a journey for your spirit, a trip for your soul. The entrances, the gates to Shambala, are not made of wood or stone, but of energy and understanding. They are spread out across this old land, hidden in plain sight. For many generations her family has watched over these special places, making sure their power stays safe. She has seen many people come and go looking for it, most hoping to find a city of gold or a magical spring that makes you young forever. They don't see that the real treasure isn't a place, but a feeling, a connection to the very heartbeat of the earth itself. The world outside her quiet valley has changed. Cities have grown and the noise of modern life has covered up the soft music of nature. Still, the gates remain. Alina knows where they are by heart. She can feel their energy pulsing from the old stones of Sarmasegatuza and from the silent look of the Bucegi Sphinx. She understands the cleaning power of the waters at Bela Herculene and the deep, quiet stillness of the Ialomite cave. These aren't just landmarks, they are living things, each holding a piece of a much bigger puzzle. A puzzle that leads inside to the Shambhala within you. Her job isn't to lead people to the gates, but to wait for the person who is truly ready. She is a keeper of keys, but the locks are on the hearts of those who seek. She knows someone is coming. She can feel it in the way the morning fog settles in the valleys and in the calls of the eagles flying high above. A soul guided by the past, carrying a desire to learn and respect, is getting close. This person won't be looking for money, but for understanding. And for this seeker, Alina will be ready to share the first quiet whisper of the long-forgotten path. The gates are patient, and so is their guardian. Far from the ageless mountains of Romania, in a city filled with the smell of old paper and ink, lived a young historian named Adrian. He spent his days surrounded by facts and numbers, putting together the clear, written history of people. His life was about order and proof. But a mystery from his own family's past was about to mess up the orderly world he had so carefully built. The mystery arrived in a small, leather-bound notebook, left to him by his great-uncle, a man he had only known from old pictures and family stories. This notebook wasn't filled with historical dates, but with drawings of strange symbols, maps of faraway mountain trails, and handwritten notes about a hidden truth. Adrian's great-uncle had been an explorer but not of new lands. He explored myths and old tales. The notebook talked about a trip he had taken many years ago into the Romanian mountains. It was a search for something he called the gates to Shambala. Adrian, the practical historian, didn't believe it. Shambala was a myth, a story from the east, yet, as he read, he felt a pull he couldn't explain. The writings were full of wonder and strong belief. His great-uncle described powerful energies, ancient holy places, and a great change. He believed these Romanian mountains had a secret link to this famous place of wisdom. Driven by a curiosity that was deeper than his job training, Adrian decided to follow in his great-uncle's footsteps. He felt it was his duty, a way to understand the man he never knew and to solve the one puzzle his ancestor had left unfinished. He packed his bags, not with a historian's tools, but with the open mind of someone on a spiritual journey. He took the notebook, its pages old and fragile, and a map marked with 5 special places. His logical mind told him he was chasing a ghost, a folktale, but his heart, stirred by his great-uncle's passionate words, hoped to find something more. His journey began with a single name mentioned in the notebook's last entry, Alina. It was she, his great-uncle wrote, who held the first key of memory. Finding her was his first job. He traveled to a small village tucked at the foot of the Tealau Massif, a place that seemed to exist outside of time. He asked the locals about a woman who knew the old stories, and they pointed him toward a quiet house at the edge of the forest. There, he met Alina. He showed her the notebook, and as she looked at the familiar handwriting, a knowing, gentle smile crossed her face. She didn't need to read the words, she remembered the man who wrote them. The journey, she told him, could now truly begin. Elena didn't give Adrian a map. Instead, she told him to let the land guide him, and to listen with more than just his ears. His first stop, as written in the notebook, was Sarmisegetusa, the old capital of the Dacian kingdom. Here, among the ruins of a once great civilization, lay the Andesite sun, a large round stone holy place. As Adrian stood before it, he felt a strange vibration buzzing through the bottoms of his shoes. The air itself seemed to shimmer. He placed his hand on the cool old stone and closed his eyes. In that moment, the world of facts and dates disappeared. He saw a vision of ancient priests, their faces lit by starlight, chanting in a language his mind didn't know but his spirit understood. The vision was about connection, about the earth and the stars being one. He understood that this place was a clock for the sky, but also a source of huge earth energy. It was the first gate, a gate of getting things in line. His great-uncle's notes made sense now. This was where the seeker's journey was set right with the rhythms of the universe. Leaving Sarmisegetusa, Adrian felt a new sense of purpose. The doubt that had clung to him like a shadow was starting to fade, replaced by a quiet feeling of wonder. His next stop was the Buchigi Massif, home to a natural rock shape that strangely looks like a human face, the Sphinx of Busegi. Old tales said it protected this holy land. As he got closer to the Sphinx, a thick fog rolled in, cutting him off from the world below. The stone face seemed to watch him, its expression unchanging yet full of ancient wisdom. Here in the deep quiet, another experience washed over him. It wasn't a vision but a feeling, a deep, inner calm. All the noise of his thoughts, his worries, his goals, simply went away. He felt a sense of being seen, of being known, not by a person, but by the mountain itself. The notebook described this as the gate of silence, where the mind must be empty to make room for what is to come. It was a lesson in being humble, in understanding his small place in a huge living world. From the silent peaks, Adrian went down to the healing springs of Bile Herculaneum, a place respected since Roman times. The air was thick with the smell of sulfur and minerals. Following his great-uncle's directions, he found a hidden cave where hot water trickled down mossy rocks. He put his hands in the warm, life-giving stream. As the water flowed over his skin, he felt a cleaning not just of his body, but of his spirit. He felt old doubts and fears washing away, replaced by a feeling of newness and clarity. This was the gate of cleaning. The journey was stripping him down, layer by layer, getting him ready for the deeper mysteries that lay ahead in the heart of the earth. The next step on his journey led Adrian deep into the Yalomite cave, a huge hollow carved into the mountain by an underground river. At its entrance stands a small monastery, showing how important this place has been for spiritual reasons for hundreds of years. Carrying a simple lantern, he went deep into the cool, damp darkness. The only sound was the steady drip of water, like a slow, regular heartbeat of the mountain. His great-uncle's notebook described this cave as the Earth's womb, a place for thinking deeply and finding answers. Adrian walked past amazing stalactites and stalagmites, shapes that seemed to move and dance in the flickering light of his lamp, feeling as if he were traveling into his own thoughts. He eventually reached the room his great-uncle had described, known as the Hall of the Ancestors. Here, the sounds were perfect. He said his own name out loud, and the sound echoed back, many times over, as if a group of voices were answering him. He sat in the darkness, listening. In the deep quiet between the drips of water, he started to hear something else. It wasn't a sound, but a feeling, a sense of old presences all around him. He felt the long line of people who had come before him, the seekers, the guardians, the believers. He realized he wasn't alone on this search. He was part of an old and unbroken chain of souls looking for connection. This was the gate of connection, a place to understand that each person is part of a much bigger whole. The vision that came to him here wasn't about seeing, but about feeling. He felt his own life as a single thread woven into a huge and beautiful cloth that stretched back through time. The feeling of being separate that he had always had, the academic distance he kept from his subjects, disappeared. He wasn't just a historian studying the past. He was a living part of it. The journey was teaching him that history isn't just a bunch of dead facts, but a living, breathing energy that flows through everyone and everything. Coming out of the cave back into the daylight, Adrian felt greatly changed. The world looked brighter, more colorful. The green of the trees seemed greener, the blue of the sky deeper. He had traveled to the center of the mountain and in doing so, had traveled closer to his own center. The first 4 gates, getting in line, silence, cleaning, and connection, had prepared him for the final part of his journey. He now understood that he wasn't looking for a physical city. He was being changed, remade, prepared to see the world in a completely new way. The final gate on the holy peak of the Tealau Massif waited. Adrian's last stop was the Tealau Massif, known in Romanian old stories as the Holy Mountain. Elena had told him that this mountain doesn't welcome everyone. It chooses who is worthy to climb its peaks. As he started the climb, he felt the effort of his journey in his legs but a lightness in his spirit. The air grew thin and clean. Each step was like a deep thought. He was no longer just following his great-uncle's notebook. He was finishing a journey that was now completely his own. The path was steep and rough, winding through old forests and over open ridges, with each turn showing a more amazing view of the world below. He reached the top at sunrise. The sky was a mix of soft pink and bright gold. Below him, a sea of clouds filled the valleys, making the nearby peaks look like islands in a huge, dreamy ocean. It was here, at the highest point, that his great-uncle had written about the final gate, the gate of seeing. There was no building, no object. The gate was the view itself. It was the moment of seeing the world from a very big and beautiful perspective. As Adrian watched the sun rise, casting its first golden rays over the world, the last piece of the puzzle clicked into place. He felt no separation between himself, the mountain, and the rising sun. In that moment of pure, direct seeing, he understood. Shambala was not a hidden city in a faraway valley. It was here. It was now. It was this state of perfect connection, of seeing the holy in the natural world. It was the quiet in the Bucegi fog, the energy in the Sarmisegetuza stones, the cleaning of the Herculean waters, and the deep connection in the Yelomite cave. These places were not gates to a physical kingdom, but things that helped awaken a kingdom inside the human heart. The journey was the goal. The treasure was the change within the person seeking. Shambala was a way of seeing. Adrian returned to the village a changed man. The restless historian was gone, replaced by a calm, centered person who carried a deep peace within him. He found Alina tending her garden, and she looked up at him as he approached. She didn't ask what he had found. She could see it in his eyes. He had found the secret. He thanked her, knowing that words weren't enough for the gift he had been given. Adrian eventually went back to his world of books and cities, but he was no longer just a part of it. He carried the quiet of the mountains inside him, and in her quiet house, Alina continued to wait, knowing that the gates to Shambala are never truly closed. They stay open for all who remember how to listen to the earth's whispers.